Oh, hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. We are live from Chicago once again, and what a backdrop we have for you. We are talking Benjamin Sesko, Manchester United, straight into the race. Could Newcastle do us a favour once again? They helped us get Mbeumo over the line by going for Wissa. Are they going to help us get a striker in Benjamin Sesko over the line by speeding up on that deal? Will it force Manchester United into action? Well, we have some news from Fabrizio Romano on that. Also some news from Fabrizio Romano on Alejandro Garnacho and his move to Chelsea. I think Garnacho is waiting until the end of the window to get that move to Chelsea. It is his preference, but are Chelsea actually going to go for him, or are we going to be left with Garnacho on our books this season and having to force him back in to Amorim's squad? Get your comments in, let us know what you think. Gonna bring a little bit in on Ollie Watkins as well. But welcome everybody, welcome to Chicago. It is 8:15 here. I saw some of the comments saying that I was late because I was on the mojitos, I was out in Chicago. That's for after the show. Drinks are waiting for me inside. I've got my water currently, I'm being good. It's so hot out here that I have to keep having sips of that. So some people say that's straight vodka. It's not. We're going to have some drinks at the I.O. Roofscape Godfrey Hotel in Chicago. Absolutely brilliant setting and lovely vibes here. So going to be doing that after the show. But welcome everyone. Get your comments in. Also, if you've not seen it already, interviewed Patrick Dorgu earlier. Patrick Dorgu, was talking about Amorim's message, what he's improving for the season ahead, what he's doing in training and how he's helping Diego Leon. It was a really insightful interview, if I do say so myself. I thought he spoke well. I thought he came across humble. I think he has the opportunity to really kick on this season, and actually as well was speaking about how much confidence affects you and how much having more confidence going into next season is going to help him, and obviously coming in mid-free for a season can be difficult. So I've got high hopes for Patrick Dorgu, so after you've watched this show, make sure you go across and watch that as well. But let's start off with, I'm going to start off with Alejandro Garnacho actually. Brian Robson in the chat saying any thunderstorms, Beth. It's weird actually, because at some points in the day it'll just absolutely chuck it down and there'll be a bit of thunder and lightning, and then about half an hour later the sun's shining, it's 30 degrees. So I mean, I don't mind it. I go in, watch a bit of Love Island, edit some videos, come back out, and, the sun's shining. I'm ready to attack the day. I'm ready to go and interview Patrick Dorgu. I mean, what a life we get to live, bringing this content to you guys on the United Stand. So, yeah, it's decent. It's decent. But we have the news in, and let me get it in for you here. So this came from Fabrizio Romano, and he said, Chelsea wants Alejandro Garnacho and Xavi Simons. There is a possibility that they sign both this summer. The priority remains Xavi Simons at the moment. It's interesting, isn't it? Because we keep hearing that Chelsea want Alejandro Garnacho. But if Chelsea wanted Alejandro Garnacho, they'd have Alejandro Garnacho. They're not shy of signing players. They signed João Pedro within, 24, 48 hours? Jamie Gittins they've brought in for the front line, who literally plays in Alejandro Garnacho's position. And now they're trying to strike a deal for Xavi Simons, who also plays across the front line. Slightly different position, obviously, more of an attacking midfielder, but Alejandro Garnacho will be brought into Chelsea, as we spoke about with Ben Jacobs on the show, as someone who can play across all the positions in the front line. He's played it in Amorim's system, a little bit more inside. He's played on the outside, he's played right wing, he's played left wing. That's what the aim would be if Chelsea was to bring Alejandro Garnacho in. But I'm sat here and I'm thinking, I really think this is being pushed more by Alejandro Garnacho. I think he wants to go to Chelsea, and I think you can understand why he wants to go to Chelsea. We know from an ego point of view, that's probably the best move in his eyes. Chelsea are going to be competing at the top of the Premier League, in my opinion, definitely competing for Champions League. They're in the Champions League and they've just won the Club World Cup. They're a very ambitious football club who are trying to get in as many young players as possible. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But they're going investing in young talent. Alejandro Garnacho, what elevates his status more? Going playing for Aston Villa or going playing for Chelsea? Going playing for Napoli or going playing for Chelsea? And I think he's about the status, and I think he's about, what looks best. Even though he's probably not going to get the game time at Chelsea. I mean, he will get game time, but he won't be guaranteed game time, and I don't think he'll start every game. And whereas I think at Villa he would be starting regularly, at Napoli I think he would be starting regularly, I think he wants the status of, I play for Chelsea. And I think Chelsea do have interest, absolutely. I mean, Chelsea are interested in every single young player under the sun. Have you ever seen that meme where it's like this guy is walking hand in hand with a girl, and then he looks back and he's like looking at that girl behind him? That's Chelsea with all the young talent. You know, they're looking at João Pedro, next thing you know, oh look, there's Xavi Simons. You know, they're looking at Delap, next thing you know, oh, there's João Pedro. You know, they're bringing Pedro Neto in, next thing you know, they're looking back like, oh, there's Jadon Sancho. Like, there's always somebody else for Chelsea that they're bringing through, and obviously, if you're good enough, you will play. Cole Palmer has proven that. He plays for Chelsea every single game, and he's absolutely fantastic, so if you're good enough, you will. But I don't think Alejandro Garnacho is at that level yet. I think he's got potential. I think he absolutely has potential, but Kenda's coming in next year. You know, Pedro Neto's there now. I know Madueke is just left and gone to Arsenal, so that's a position that kind of opens up a little bit. But I think Alejandro Garnacho would say his preferred position is on the left wing. But would he play more on the right if it meant playing for a club that has Chelsea's status rather than an Aston Villa that maybe isn't as glamorous? I think Aston Villa are a great club. I think they're well established. I think they play good football. I think they've got an excellent manager. But I'm just thinking in the eyes of Alejandro Garnacho. To get to the point, I think that if Chelsea really wanted Garnacho, they would have gone for him. I think Garnacho's waiting around to try and get that move. Whether it's some sort of mirror deal with Nkunku, Nicholas Jackson, I don't know. But I think he's waiting and trying every possible avenue to get that move. Similarly to how Marcus Rashford did with Barcelona. And do you know what? It paid off. Marcus Rashford sort of backed United into a corner, said it like only wanted Barcelona. He only wanted Barcelona in January. It didn't end up working out, so to get game time, he had to go to Aston Villa. He admitted that himself. This summer, it was all about Barcelona. People looking up saying, why are we accepting a loan? Why aren't we doing a sale? You can't force a player to go to a club they don't want to go to. You can, you know, force Marcus Rashford or Alejandro Garnacho into a move they don't want, because players have the power, and I'm happy for Marcus Rashford. If I was him, I would want to go to Barcelona too. It's the best move, and it's got the biggest opportunity. But we accepted a loan because that's what Marcus Rashford wanted. If it was up to United, they would have taken the money for him. So Alejandro Garnacho, we saw him wear that Rashford shirt. He's commenting on all his posts. He's probably looking up to him. He probably thinks, you know, I'm sort of exiled the same way he was. Like, let's take a leaf out of his book. And I think he would be pushing that Chelsea move. And, you know, if Chelsea really wanted him, they would have gone for him over Jamie Gittins. They would have gone for him over, you know, other players that they're kind of looking at. Even Kenda, who they went and bought in January, who's not in till next season. He'll be coming, and they've promised him to play in them wing spots. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think that's where Amorim's answer stemmed from in the press conference, when he said if players or other clubs think they can wait until the end of the window and they can get a reduced deal or a cut price fee, they'll be mistaken. We are happy to welcome them back into the squad. They have more competition, i.e. this was the message from Amorim to Garnacho within that answer. You're not going to play because they have Cunha and Mbeumo and other players that want to be here. So you're going to be here and you're not going to play. And he also mentioned the World Cup, saying players need to compete to play in the World Cup. You aren't going to the World Cup if you stay here with me. It was sort of an ultimatum for Garnacho, saying, stop trying to wait around and get that move unless you actually can provide the money from Chelsea to put on the table for you to go. Because if Garnacho has great agents and they can talk to Chelsea and get Chelsea to pay 50 million, absolutely fantastic. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think when Amorim says you need to play for the World Cup, you're not going to be getting in my team whether you're here or not, and we will have you back in the squad. We will keep you if the number isn't met. That's basically saying, look, you need to find yourself a move. Because we are very prepared to just keep you around, and that would kill your World Cup ambitions. And Garnacho, of course, he wants to play in the World Cup. Of course he does. Argentina, you know, World Cup champions, he's going to want to go and play there. And I think he has the capability to play there. I think he could be in the starting 11 if he gets to the level that I think he can do in terms of his skill set and his talent. But I think Amorim's sort of giving him a little push there. I still think if Garnacho waited till the last week of the window, United would probably do a cut price deal to get him gone, just to create squad harmony, just so they didn't have to deal with that saga all season long. But I think it's a good thing from Amorim to be saying that now. And plus, Amorim's probably thinking, get on your bike, get the money in, because I need a midfielder, I need a striker, and so I need the money from you, because as soon as we have that seal of approval that Alejandro Garnacho is going to leave and money's going to be coming into the club, pure profit, United can be comfortable in going spending money on that striker, whoever it may be. We'll bring in the Sesko news in a moment. Or a midfielder that I know Goldbridge spoke about earlier on in the day. Toby Collier looks like he's going to be going out on loan. By the way, I think that's a really good move. I think he does need a loan move. And that opens the door for a midfielder to come in. I was speaking last night how I don't think enough people are talking about Baleba. I would, and that's why, by the way, that's why the thumbnail says don't do it. Because I wouldn't spend the money on Sesko, and I would spend the money on a Baleba, on an absolutely elite midfielder. And I'm going to talk about that more in a second, because it looks like United might well be entering that Sesko race and putting the money down on the table. But before I get into the Sesko stuff and pivot onto that, I want to bring in some of your comments. Thank you everyone for watching live with us. Let me get your comments in. So we have Awais saying, good morning, Princess Beth. We missed you on live. I've been going live like every single day. So you've just got to tune in to the late night times or the early morning times, depending on where you are. You know, if you're in the UK right now, I'm pretty sure it's 2. If you're in Chicago right now, it's 8. If you're in New York right now, it's 9, and so on and so on. Wherever you are, let us know the time. But, you know, we are live. You just got to tune in. We are bringing lives at all times of the day. We have David though saying, where will the United stand be staying in Atlanta? Can't give you my room number, David. Can't be doing that. But we'll be posting about where you can meet us outside the stadium for sure. We can do that. Cameron Mello O'Connor says, hey Beth, hopefully I get to meet you and the stand crew. Big up to you and the channel. Can't wait to be at the game on Sunday. GGMU. Yeah, for everyone wondering, by the way, we're trying to... I'm liaising with Ricky right now. I'm messaging him. He is going to be in Chicago on Wednesday for the game. So hopefully we'll... Is there really any need? To rev your engine that loud? Like, really? Yeah, he knows I'm live. He's getting excited because Ricky's going to be here. So we're going to try and get Ricky on the show. Going to try and get Ricky on the channel from Chicago. That'd be ace. Hopefully he'll be meeting people outside the Soldier Field. I'll give you the heads up. And I think he's also going to be in Atlanta as well. So there is going to be opportunity to see Ricky and me. And make sure you follow the United Stand Beth Tucker as well on the socials. Beth TM MUFC on Twitter and the United Stand on Twitter, because we will be posting. We'll be posting where we are outside the stadium, Soldier Field and the Mercedes-Benz, and we're going to do some content, so make sure you stay tuned for that.
Also, Cameron's been a member for 38 months.
Cameron, you've been a member for 38 months. Absolutely fantastic. Love it. That's more than a lot of marriages last. Cameron, thank you very much. We have Sir Dave saying, please move to this time zone. It's so nice to get a full live 8 o'clock show at 8 o'clock. Enjoy Chicago, wonderful city. Oh my gosh, you know what I had? You know what I had earlier? Oh, when we're on these trips, like, you've just got to get food when you can. So we got up, we realised, oh, we've got an opportunity to interview Patrick Dorgu. Got ready super quick, got out. Then you're waiting around, you're having conversations with a lot of fans, United fans. You're speaking to people, you're speaking to other journalists. You then, you interview Patrick Dorgu. Next thing you know, it's like 5 o'clock and you've not eaten any food yet. So we were speaking to a local and they put us on, and it's probably been my best recommendation yet. It was called, what was it called? Green Street Meats or something like that. Let me get it up. It was called, how am I forgetting, because it was absolutely unreal. Green Street Smoked Meats. And it was like barbecue, sorry for the vegetarians out there. It was like barbecue, brisket, ribs, this potato thing that was just like insane. I mean, broccoli's broccoli, but they somehow made it like 10 out of 10. Like, it was the nicest meat I have ever... It was the nicest meat I've ever had. It genuinely was. So if you're in and around the Chicago area, I really do recommend it. I mean, some of you are probably like, yeah, Beth, we know about that. It's amazing, obviously, but I'm new around here. So I was absolutely blown away. Maybe it's because I was just really, really hungry, but it was beautiful. And now the live chat's gone off. Let me get it back on. See more of the comments. Andy says, hey Beth, good to see you. Could you ask Ice to keep the Glazers? I don't know what that means, if someone could fill me in on that. C-Gun says, Baleba is probably not possible if we buy Sesko. Yeah, well, let's talk about that, because I was talking to quite a lot of people today, and it's so nice when people stop you and say, we watched your show on the rooftop, and I completely agree with you about the shout about Baleba. I think he'd been fantastic. You really brought me round to the idea. I think that's what we should be doing. So it's great to actually see, people watching these shows and then kind of thinking about it and having them conversations. This is what Romano had to say about the whole situation regarding Benjamin Sesko. He said, my understanding is that Newcastle already spoke to the agents of the player. They presented the project. They are prepared to pay whatever it takes to get Sesko. But Manchester United are still in the race. They made contact in recent days after discussing Sesko internally. Now they are working on the player side to present their project and to understand if financially they can make it happen. And we already know what the financial rumours are regarding Benjamin Sesko. It's looking at £70 million. £70 million. Now, in the fear of repeating myself, just to kind of back up this point, Sesko could sign for Newcastle, he could sign for an Arsenal, he could sign for one of the top teams that are competing in the Champions League, and he could absolutely light it up. He could turn into one of the best strikers in the league, in Europe. He's got that capability, he's got that potential. He is blessed with a lot of talent, striking ability, and the way he strikes the ball is fantastic. He's very aware of where to be in the box, get in the right place at the right time. He's got height on his side, he's good aerially, he's got a lot of strings to his bow. However, I do feel like sometimes people get so excited around a name and a player, and you do have to think, have you actually watched this player a lot? Because, I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched loads of Benjamin Sesko, but I've probably watched at least 5 full 90 minutes of Benjamin Sesko, where I'm actually looking at him. And I'm going to be straight up, I don't think he's ready to play up front for us now. It might just be the way that Leipzig play him. They do like him to drop deep, whereas I think Amorim's going to want him to play through the lines, pushing that last line of the attack, and pushing the team up the pitch and be that in the box threat. So that might play to his strengths more. But I still see him as a potential player. Yes, he has experience in the Champions League. Yes, he's been around the block and he's played a lot of football, but he's not got Premier League experience. And I think it's a huge risk for Manchester United to go and spend £70 million, at least. I think it's going to be at least 70 million, plus some add-ons on a player that, okay, he's young, he's got resale value, you've got a lot of years left that you can get out of him, but might not be ready and might fall down the same trap that Rasmus Højlund did. And not everyone turns out the same, but you've got to look at that example. We didn't buy Rasmus Højlund because we thought he wasn't going to kick on. We were super excited to get him in. PSG were highly competing for his signature. Everyone in Italy thought he was going to be one of the next best strikers. He came to United probably a bit too soon. He showed glimpses in his first year, but his confidence became shattered, and he's massively regressed and looks like a shadow of the player that we bought. And that's what can happen if you shatter a young player's confidence. And we bought Højlund in at 20? We paid a big fee for him, 72 million. Oh, he'll have resale value. We'll have him for a decade. United probably would have sold him if they could get any money for him this season and it wasn't going to go against the books. We needed 40 million to sell Rasmus this summer without it affecting the books. We were never going to get that. We brought Rasmus Højlund in for 72. His value now is probably 25. If players don't perform, they're not always going to hold that same value. So Rasmus Højlund could have gone to Arsenal. Rasmus Højlund could have gone to Newcastle, City, and he could have been amazing. He could have been. I think these are really key stages of a player's development, and you can have that raw talent, you can have that baseline for a player, but these crucial years, if your confidence gets shattered, if you're playing in a team that requires a high amount of experience and someone who fully believes in themselves and someone who fully backs themselves and someone who fully knows the Premier League and knows how to score goals and deal with Premier League defenders, then it's always going to be a very telling point of your career, and it can go the wrong way. So I think for Manchester United, it'd be really, really risky to spend that money on Benjamin Sesko. And I've said a million times, I want a striker, I really do. I think Ollie Watkins would be perfect. I don't think well, I know he wasn't my number one choice. I was always aiming higher than Ollie Watkins. I think he's a good Premier League striker. I don't think he's an elite Premier League striker, but where we're at in the window now, I would take him with open arms. Premier League proven, got that experience, knows how to score goals, has the link-up play that Amorim's system requires, works hard the way Amorim's system requires. Amorim does want him, really likes him, ticks all the boxes, but Villa are going to hold out for 55, 60 million pounds, which United aren't going to spend and probably shouldn't spend on a 29, 30-year-old. So with Watkins, the essentials are there. The Premier League experience is not a risky signing in terms of his attributes and what he's going to be able to give us on the pitch, but it's risky in terms of the amount of money and how long he's going to last. Sesko, it's risky in terms of is he going to be able to come in and start as our striker and be at the level that Amorim demands, this club demands and the fans demand straight away, which is what our striker needs to be. But he's going to cost you a lot of money. Like, he's going to cost you a lot of money. If he does well, no one cares, because it's a 22-year-old for 70 million. In the long term, if he kicks on, you don't care about the money. It's like Arsenal went and paid, was it 100 million on Declan Rice? No one speaks about that because he's been really good for them. Like Caicedo at first, everyone was like 115 million, but he's one of Chelsea's best players, so people don't throw that price tag back in your face. Rasmus Højlund, all we get is 72 million. Anthony, all you get is 86 million. Like, when a player doesn't perform, the price tag is going to be looked at. So for Manchester United, I think it's about not taking too many risks. And as good as Sesko could be, and it might be a mistake not going for him, I think it's too risky when we have got a poor cash flow right now. We need to spend our money very wisely. We can't afford to have a transfer go wrong. I would rather spend that money on a midfielder that I know is absolutely going to work and has everything in a Baleba. He has everything. He's Premier League proven. I would rather spend that money on a player that I know is going to work. And then next season, because as much as we need a striker, like Mbeumo is going to provide goals, Cunha is going to provide goals, Bruno is going to provide goals, Ahmad is going to provide goals. I think Joshua Zirkzee really is going to kick on this season. We need a striker, yes, but there is goals in that team. We need a midfielder, like badly. Games are won and lost in the midfield, and we rarely take control of a midfield and dominate it. We need a midfielder badly. We need a striker badly, but with the additions of Cunha and Mbeumo, I think you can afford now, with how the market is panned out, with the likes of, Gyökeres, Delap, Ekitike all going off the market, I really think Manchester United should maybe take a moment to step back, go and get a midfielder, get a goalkeeper, when the next Gyökeres, the next Ekitike, the next Ollie Watkins, comes on the scene next year. Maybe that's where our big money striker move comes in. It doesn't even have to be big money, but someone who, is really going to kind of change the game up front for Manchester United. Let me know what you think, though. Let me know what you think. We have Man U philosophy saying Fabrizio said the price could be less for a special club because of the gentleman's agreement that Sesko has, with the club hinting we might be able to get to him for 60 million. I've seen it, but Benjamin Sesko and his agent seem to be very, very respectful. Where was that gentleman's agreement with Arsenal, who will have been a special club as well? Arsenal and Leipzig couldn't agree on a deal. Benjamin Sesko didn't force a move because him and his agent are very respectful. By the way, that's a very good characteristic to have in a player you're bringing in. That ticks boxes for me. We need humble, respectful players. And Mbeumo, massively respectful in his move. Sesko was respectful as well, didn't force that move when Arsenal would be a great, great opportunity for the player. So where was the gentleman's agreement with that move? Of course, he follows United. We do still hold some weight, as you can see with Cunha and Mbeumo, maybe. But I find it hard to believe if Newcastle are literally there, with the money, they are going to make a massive bid because they're selling Isak for over 100 million. Romano's literally said they're prepared to make a massive offer, wages-wise and just initial fee. I struggle to see Leipzig being like, you know what, Newcastle are offering like 75 million and you're going to get a decent wage there. You're going to have Champions League football. But because you've said you want to go to United, we'll take 50 million off the fee and, we'll let you go there. I just struggle to see that happening. But I think it's a good shout. And if we did manage to do that sort of deal and kind of blindside Newcastle in that, it would be a really good look for Manchester United and it'd make them look really strong in the transfer market. So let's see how it pans out. I just struggle to see. I struggle to see Manchester United getting that sort of deal when Arsenal couldn't do it. But let's wait and see. Just Rody sent one United Stand gift membership. Just Rody, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. I appreciate that. Pablo says, Morgs, can I have a tenner? Don't know who you're talking about. Maybe you just want me to read that out because someone called Morgs is watching the show. If so, give Pablo a tenner. Go on, do it. Big Mandem says, Mainu and Ugarte as CDMs go all out for Sesko. I agree that I think that's our best midfield pivot, but what happens if they get injured? They're both young players. I suppose they've only got one game a week, but you've literally, you're struggling if one of them gets injured. I still think a midfielder is needed. We know Mainu can push forward as well, and I don't think you can just have only two midfielders that can play that role that requires two players. I know Casemiro can fill in, Bruno's done it in the past, but we want to be playing it our best and most balanced every single game. Keith Aker says, Garnacho moving to Chelsea will work out as well as it did for Sancho. Shows you his attitude if he wants to go there instead of Napoli. And have we got anything else? Let me have a look. Okay. Toy Strange says, hey Beth, long-time follower of the United Stand from California. Love the channel. What do you think is the best way to close this window for United? I mean, I know it's not going to happen, but I get my opinion out there. That's what these shows are about. And can you believe how dark it is already, by the way? But the best way to close out this window for me would be going securing a goalkeeper, going getting Larmans, or even, a first choice goalkeeper. I don't think we will because I don't think Onana will move on. Going getting a goalkeeper that can at least compete for Onana and gives United fans a different goalkeeper to watch in goal this season and get their hopes up about. And getting Baleba. If we managed to pull off Baleba, I'd be over the moon. Don't get me wrong, if we did get a Sesko, I'd back him and I'd be happy about it. We need a striker and he is an improvement. But I'm just thinking about the priorities and our cash flow right now. I would love Ollie Watkins as well, but I just kind of don't think that we're going to pay the money that Villa are going to hold out for, which is around 60 million. And I do think that is heavy for a player that is turning 30 in December. I really do. You only pay that sort of money for like a 30-year-old or 30 and over if they're Harry Kane, if they're of that level, and Watkins isn't at that level. He's good, and I'd like him. 60 million's too much, I think. We also have here as well, someone super chat Beth. She thinks Baleba is 70 mil. She said it yesterday too. He's 120 mil. They want more than Caicedo. We cannot afford him. Tulip. I spoke about this on the show yesterday as well. I'm going in with 70 as the initial bidding. I know that Brighton have put it out there that they want over 120 mil for Baleba. They want more than they got for Caicedo, and they got 115 mil for Caicedo. I know that is what the message they've pushed out. But United also pushed out that they want 70 million for Garnacho, and we'd probably accept 40. Like, I know Brighton are difficult to deal with, and that's why I'm saying it is probably unrealistic. But if you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't try, you don't get. Baleba's on 12.5 grand a week. United could offer him probably 115, 120, similar to Lenny Yoro, that young player wage. That would be a huge, huge jump. Manchester United are a prestigious club that still carries some weight, and of course Brighton would have to approve. But who have Brighton sold this summer? I know they don't necessarily have to sell. They've earned a lot of money over the years. But Brighton, if the player pushed it and we offered them a package where, okay, it's 75 million plus add-ons if he achieves this, and that, and it was, a decent initial payment, or maybe it's a small initial payment, but it's a higher fee. All I'm saying is if you're paying 70 plus add-ons for Sesko, I would go in and try and do a package deal for Baleba just over that. I think it'd be more beneficial for us in the long run. And I'm just putting it out there, okay? It might not be realistic. It probably won't happen, but someone's got to talk about it. And why can't it happen? I'm so sick of people saying that can't happen, that won't happen. We're Manchester United. We are Manchester United. Have the conversation. Put the package together. Speak to Baleba. Like, you don't know unless you try at the end of the day. But yeah, anyway, thank you everyone for that. Let's just see where we're at on this one. Just my last little point to round up. Just Rody says, hi Beth, will we get a keeper this transfer window? I mean, there was a little bit of news come out. Mark texted me about it before, actually. Let me bring this in. apparently there's a bit of news about Martinez from Villa again. Let me have a look. I did have it up here, but it's gone off my screen. While I'm just looking for that, okay. So, Romano said this on DAZN Football. He said, Benjamin Sesko's chances of joining Manchester United are 50%. I think it's 50% Newcastle as well. While Emi Martinez's chances of joining are around 35%. I just don't think we get Emi Martinez unless Onana goes, and Onana's not going to go. So I think the chances are probably less than that. But, you know, I think Martinez probably wants to push that move. His agent might be pushing it out a bit, hence why it's at 35%. But I don't think we'll sign Martinez, and I'll hold my hands up and say, well done if we do, because he's a very good Premier League proven established keeper that I think, despite the fact he annoys me and his demeanour at Old Trafford has grated on me over the years, and I think he, you know, has so much arrogance. He is an absolutely fantastic keeper that would massively improve us. If we could get him, great. Just don't think that's going to happen. I think the keeper we get would be Larmans at this point, and I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy to take a punt, take a risk, hope that he pays off. He seems like he's got good attributes, and the people I speak to around his ability seem to speak quite positively of him, but I'd be lying if I said I'd watched him, so I don't know. I'd like to just hope for that one. And then the last little bit I wanted to tell you about was coming out, apparently Jadon Sancho is still being discussed internally at Dortmund. United want around 18 to 20 million euros. Jadon Sancho, I don't think Dortmund can afford what we want, but that's another one there. We're probably going to end up taking the worst cut price deal that you can imagine at the end of the window because we just want him out the club, and Sancho probably is relying on that. I still don't understand why he didn't take the Chelsea offer, unless, like I said at the time, it was a deal that was set up to be like, look, we're not going to take you on, but to make it better for you publicly, we will just say you rejected our offer. Maybe that was that, because it's not as if he's not been overloaded with offers, has he? Maybe he should take a leaf out of Anthony's book and go to Saudi for a while. Go to Saudi, play some good football, get the money that you want, and maybe come back to Europe in a couple of years. Like, he's still young. Let's see what happens with Sancho, but I doubt Dortmund have the money to do that deal. I hope he gets a good move. I just want him out of United, to be honest with you. And I'd think as a player you'd just want to leave. Like, I'd think that, but he's biding his time, and he's probably listening to quite a few people around him as well. Let's see where he ends up. But look, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of the comments, all of the live viewers. I'm loving everybody tuning in and the community tuning in for these shows. Wherever you are in the world, I really do appreciate it. And Beth, how old is Sancho, says Tobias. I'm pretty sure he's 24, 25. Let me have a look quickly. Sancho is 25. Wow, that time has run away with us there. I'm just checking how old Baleba is here. I'm pretty sure he's like 20 or something. He's 21. 21, and he's that talented. Please sign him up. But yeah, anyway, I'll wrap up the show there. I'm about to go and have a proper drink at the I.O. Roofscape Chicago. It's a Godfrey hotel, and it's absolutely fantastic. They've looked after us massively here. So about to go and have a drink. Thank you everyone for watching. Let's see what the days ahead have. Do you know what would be absolutely super cool? Do you know what would be absolutely super cool? God, the Americans are rubbing off on me. Do you know what would be really good? It'd be really good if we got some like breaking news while everyone at home was asleep and we were live in Chicago. So if anyone wants to make that happen, I would absolutely love it. Ricky, oh, I thought he was going to tell me something I could read out on the show, but I'll save it for our show that we do together. Thank you for watching, everyone. I really do appreciate all the love in the comments. Make sure you get your comments in. Do you want Sesko? Do you want a midfielder? Do you think it's the right thing to do? Where do you think Garnacho will end up? Smash a like on the video. Let us know all your thoughts, and we will see you on the next one.